I'm Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Ask me anything. Through it all, what makes you happy? Looking for ideas. Some recently said that when your children are doing well, it really is very special, and as a parent I completely agree. Sometimes following through on commitments to yourself, like doing more exercise, also improves your happiness. What would you still like to achieve that you haven't? The goal of the foundation is that all kids grow up healthy, no matter where they are born. That means getting rid of malaria and many of the other diseases that affect poor countries. It should be achievable in my lifetime. And #X200B. When was the last time you sat in front of a computer and wrote code? I actually do use tabs. It is easy to convert tabs to spaces and vice versa, so we shouldn't waste too much time on this issue. I have not written code in a shipping product for a long time, but I do write enough code to understand the new tools like TypeScript or GitHub, shameless Microsoft plugs. And #X200B. It's well known you are an avid reader. What are a few books that come to your mind when asked to recommend reading materials for anyone that can have a true impact on their life, either professionally or personally? It's awesome to see you here too. Thank you. I read a lot of nonfiction. There are so many great books. I do reviews on gatesnotes.com. I am reading Hacking Darwin now, about gene editing getting very popular and what policies should control the usage. I love books that explain things like Smill's Energy and Civilization, or all of Pinker's books. Factfulness by the Roslings is very readable, a great place to start to get a framework for the progress of humanity. What's a piece of technology that's theoretical now that you wish you could make possible immediately? Thanks in advance, and thank you for all of your humanitarian efforts. I am fascinated by how hard it has been to teach computers to actually read so they understand the material. An example would be reading a textbook and passing a test. This question of knowledge representation is a fascinating one that Microsoft and lots of others are working on. However, if I had one wish to make a new technology, it would be a solution to malnutrition. Almost half the kids in poor countries grow up without their body or brain developing fully, so they miss most of their potential. Second would be an HIV vaccine. And #X200B. What are your hobbies? Nothing work-related. I play tennis and bridge. Tennis is good exercise. Bridge is a great game, but not as popular with young people as it used to be. I read a lot, but I am not sure that is a hobby. The internet is fascinated by seeing you do normal things, like wait in line for a burger. But what's the most treat yourself rich guy thing that you do? I have a nice house. It includes a trampoline room, which seems kind of over the top, but my kids love using it to work off their excess energy. I am not sure how guilty I should feel about being in a great house. The other thing is that I sometimes use a private jet. It does help me do my foundation work, but again, it is a very privileged thing to have. What's your favorite prime number? 2. Do you think being a billionaire has made you a happier person than if you were just a middle-class person? Yes. I don't have to think about health costs or college costs. Being free from worry about financial things is a real blessing. Of course, you don't need $1 billion to get to that point. We do need to reduce the cost growth in these areas so they are accessible to everyone. Do you think you could jump that chair 20 years later? I would have to pick a somewhat shorter chair. I used to jump in and out of a plastic garbage can, but I know I can't do that anymore. If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say? I was overly intense and socially inept. I would try and make myself more self-aware without getting rid of the focus and desire to learn. You get a chance with your kids to help them avoid the mistakes you made. What do you think the greatest threat to humanity is at this moment? There are some things that aren't likely but we should worry about: nuclear bombs and bioterrorism, from nation-states, or terrorism, or a big pandemic. This is the 100th anniversary of the Spanish flu, and if it came back, the amount of travel would make it spread faster than it did last time. Once you get past those threats, then the biggest question is global cooperation to avoid climate change and reduce the risk of war. It is disconcerting to see a rise of countries turning inwards and not investing in alliances which have helped us avoid big wars since World War II. Climate change is a real test of how we can work together globally, since it is a complex problem. where major changes need to be done well in advance of the big harms. Hi Bill, do you support ranked choice voting? Why or why not? Thank you for your time today. Yes, this would be a great thing. It is hard to explain, but it would be a real advance. Are you happy? Yes. When I was in my 30s, I didn't think people in their 60s were very smart or had much fun. Now I have had a counter-revelation. Ask me in 20 years and I will tell you how smart 80-year-olds are. What's the most encouraging bit of progress your foundation has funded to date? Our biggest achievement is working with partners, including rich government aid groups like USAID and DFID, to make sure all the children in the world get vaccines. This is a big part of the reason that deaths of children under 5 has dropped from over 10 meters when we started to less than 6 meters now. Gavi is the name of the group that was created. All the donors to Gavi deserve huge thanks, mostly from the voters in the countries who gave. Hi, Bill. As a frequent participant of Secret Santa, do you receive gifts back? What has been your favorite? If you don't, who has been your favorite giftee? Hey. Our Secret Santa mod here. Bill Gates does receive gifts back from his Santas. Lately, he has been asking his Santas to do something to help others. You can see his post from Secret Santa 2018, here. Hello, how's your day going and what have you been watching on Netflix and/or TV right now? Melinda and I watch things like Silicon Valley, This Is Us, A Million Little Things. I watched The Americans with my son, too violent for Melinda. I watched Narcos by myself. Billions, Lie to Me, Friday Night Lights, American Vandal, Black Mirror. There are so many good shows, people tell me about them but I can't watch them all. And #X200B. Hi Mr. Gates. I work in healthcare in South Africa and I just want to say thank you for the work that your foundation has been doing for HIV research here. Your willingness to help those who have less than you is something that I truly admire and aspire to. My question is, how do I feel like I'm doing enough? With all the pain and suffering that I see every day, it's hard to feel like I am actually making a difference in the grand scheme of things. How do you deal with feeling like it's a never-ending struggle to actually make a difference and help people? Edit. I've noticed a lot of people giving gold and silver in this IAmA. Please consider donating the money instead to worthy causes. I'm sure Mr. Gates would appreciate that a lot more. Thank you. And a big thank you to everyone for their kind words, I really do appreciate it. Your point is a great one. As soon as you get engaged in solving problems, you have to face how tough things are. You need to focus on how much you can improve things and feel good about that. We need more people to visit Africa to see the progress but also to see how much needs to be done. Nothing is as good as meeting people who have to live with malaria or HIV or see their children die. People like yourself who work on the front lines deserve immense credit. Over time the deaths and suffering will go down, but I am sure some days that is hard to see. Hello Mr. Gates. Thank you for doing this Ask Me Anything. What are some common issues in poorer countries that isn't being talked about but needs attention? What can the common person do other than donate money that would actually help these communities? Thanks. Martles. There are a lot of great organizations that help in poor countries like Save the Children, CARE, Rotary, World Vision, etc. My kids have given gifts where Heifer and Technoserve buy chickens or other livestock for families to lift them up. And #X200B. What do you think of privatization of space industry? I'm kinda surprised he hasn't made his own space company, it's such a hip thing to do. Any news in Age of Empires 4? Really gonna need a response here Bill. Hi Bill, what do you think about Rutger Bregman's recent comments at Davos? Is it even possible for governments to compel billionaires to pay their fair share of taxes, even if they wanted to? As far as I know, most billionaires, and other people, comply with tax laws. There should be more transparency so it is clear who owns what and how loopholes are reducing tax collection. Countries need to work with each other on this. It is pretty amazing how few countries have estate taxes, even China doesn't have one. What do you think can be done to combat the anti-vax movements? Our foundation does a lot of work to get vaccines to all the children in the world and there has been great progress. It is surprising to see how in the richer countries the consensus that kids should be protected has been lost. Unfortunately, this will mean some measles or pertussis deaths. Hopefully that will help get over the negative stories that circulate. Vaccines have saved more lives than any other tool. Our foundation is working on vaccines for malaria, HIV and TB, which will make a huge difference. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss more awesome videos.